All right, what is going on, everybody on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another live stream from the Millennial Motivation Entrepreneur YouTube channel. First and foremost, before we get going, if you're new to the channel and tuning in for the first time, we'd love to have you here for future streams. We tend to do these 2 to 3 times a week where we go live, just break down the market overall. Of course, answer any questions or any stocks or anything like that you guys want me to take a look at. We do it usually every Sunday, doing it Monday this week because obviously we had an extended weekend, which hopefully you guys enjoyed your extended weekend. I know I did mine, just took a little bit of time to reset, hit the smoker, all that kind of thing, all those kind of things. So, but yeah, we tend to do them every Sunday evening, right around like market open, futures open and whatnot. And then we tend to do 1 or 2 other streams throughout the week. So we'd love to have you there for those future streams. Like I said, hit that subscribe button below. While you're at it, we have a free, of course, don't charge for anything over here with this channel. We have a free Discord group chat with over 170 members in there. Got a few active at the moment, and then got another like 160 of you that aren't at the moment. But the link for that's down in the description box. I shoot the streams and all that, as well as my trades, all that good stuff. Of course, I don't suggest mimicking trades or anything like that, but I keep you guys super updated in there. So we love to have you in that group as well. It's awesome to just communicate with a bunch of people and just get a bunch of different trading ideas, get a bunch of stock call outs in there and whatnot in there, just like ideas that maybe we wouldn't have thought of without someone else. So with that, we will go ahead and hop right in. I just want to make sure our stream quality is doing okay. It looks like we're all green, so we're all good to go. And of course, if there's ever any issues, feel free, just scream at me in that chat and let me know if there's any audio issues, video issues, anything like that. But with that, we will go ahead and just hop right in. So if you're looking at kind of my buying power and everything, you're probably kind of confused at how my stop buying power is now over $3,000, even though my liquidity is only around $2,000, just above. So what's up with that is I've been approved for like margin, essentially like to be able to trade futures, options, all that stuff. And once you hit the minimum threshold, which for most companies, brokers is around $2,000, that is when you unlock margin benefits, like more buying power, specifically buying stocks and whatnot. So in this case, it increased my buying power by about $1,000, essentially. Not that I'm even really planning on using it, but if for some reason I see a potential to buy into the market or something, and I have that extra couple hundred to even in the future a couple $1,000s available, then by all means definitely use it on potential trades. But when we take a look at the account overall, we're now up pretty much $526 year to date, and we have paid so far right around $10 in commissions, most of which being SPY, QQQ option trades that we do. Those are somewhere around the ballpark of like $2 to $3 for the whole trade. So that is what most of our commissions have been from. So $10 commission, not too bad for sure. So we're hovering somewhere around 500 and let me see. We started out with $1,500. We're now up to pretty much 2017. So we're up about $517 after fees and commissions. Year to date, obviously, those of you that have been following for a while know I was with Tastyworks, and within the last little over 2 months now, we switched over to TD Ameritrade. Had a Mike Tyson moment there. TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. So that's why our year to date, I mean, it's green, so I'll take it, but that's why just take that with a grain of salt from the dollar standpoint. Even when we do the calculation, if you do it after fees and commissions, 517 divided by our $1,500 investment puts us at over 34%. And like I said, just over 2 months, like 9 weeks now, something like that is what we're at. So let's just say we are at 9 weeks. That is right around 4% per week. So definitely happy with the progress we made on the portfolio so far, just keeping it small, keeping the trade small. I am putting a tiny bit more money into the account. Just slowly but surely going to grow that account, of course. Just keep making good trades, keep the trades small, average down when necessary, and try to dollar cost average when needed as well. So Now, with that, just take a look at the broader markets. So, obviously, U.S. markets were closed today for Memorial Day. However, the futures market was still open because we still had the rest of the world practically was still open today. And when we take a look at our 5-minute chart, you can see pretty much all throughout last night and into today's session, we were kind of in rally mode. So pretty much what you're seeing, I don't want to confuse you guys. So when you see that we're up 1.25% essentially right now on the S&P 500, that includes Monday's, all of Sunday night and Monday's gains, because again, since the U.S. stock market was closed, I have no idea why my dog's whining, but it's getting annoying. Even though our markets were closed again, the world markets overall were still trading. However, since our market did not trade, you're not going to have that cutoff where we would have a quote-unquote new trading session, where right now we would be pretty much at break even essentially from the close. So just keep that in mind. Like, we're pretty much up 1.25% from Friday's close, essentially, just to keep it short and sweet. So either way, though, since Friday's close, we are up 1.25% from Friday's close. So pretty nice move overall since Sunday night. It looks like we may have briefly just made a new recent high, a new high of the day. 29.93, and that honestly, that's kind of what I'm expecting overnight. I am full-fledged just thinking that we're going to hit 3,000 at this point. I mean, we were talking about it in our Discord group chat when we were around like 29.75. We had that parabolic move over 29.80 overnight, and when I woke up, I was like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if by open on Tuesday that we're at 3,000, maybe even more, unless if, of course, we get some massive reversal once European markets open up here in probably the next 4 hours roughly. But why I was thinking that personally, again, when I'm looking kind of bigger picture, multiple hours a day or so in advance, I like to look at the 4-hour and 1-hour charts the most, followed up by the 1-day chart. And when we were looking at it last night, we had our little green, what I call the little green arrow, kind of a buy signal essentially. We had a cross on our MACD, so a buy signal there. Our RSI, say that 100 times. Our RSI was still pretty cooled off. I mean, it wasn't like we'd fallen all the way to 30s or anything, but we were still cool enough to, by all means, to continue to keep running up. And then whenever we were looking early on in last night's trade, or when was that? Let's see, let's get it pulled up right. 5:24, 4 to 8 p.m. That's right. So when we were looking at it in the evening, it was late evening, like dinner time last night, we had plenty of room to run. Also, from a Bollinger Band standpoint, our upper band was clear up at 29.90, coincidentally right about where we're at right now. And what I really, really liked throughout today is that upper Bollinger Band was starting to point up. While obviously the green one is just starting to kind of go down a little bit. So we're going to see an expansion probably in volatility a little bit, obviously with being up over 1%. We're having a little bit of a volatility spike there. Again, this move is on no volume because, of course, the markets, overall U.S. markets were closed. We did still have traders trading the market throughout the day. But yeah, in all honesty, I mean, at this point, I see us taking out 3,000, maybe even by the end of tonight before we go to bed, maybe. I mean, we're only 9 points off at this point. But where do we go from there? That's what's going to be interesting because, I mean, every time we have these breakouts, we do continue to make a new recent high. Obviously, the all-time high is like 3,400. But where do we stop? What's going to cause us to stop? I mean, I think a lot of it, I think what we're really rallying on, and I've been saying this for, I don't know, probably at least 2 to 4 weeks now, what we're really rallying on is hope, essentially. Hope that, I mean, you know, the economy is slowly starting to open back up. I know down here in Texas, quite a bit of the economy is pretty much open back up at this point. Now, you still have the idea about what all is going to remain stay at home. A lot of companies are going to, like commercial real estate essentially is going to get hammered because a lot of companies are just realizing now that, you know, we don't need this office space. It's a waste of money. Let's go ahead and have the guys work from home. But then you still have a bunch of companies who are like, no, you know what, our sales, this and that, dropped dramatically when we had employees working from home because they were fucking off the whole time they were at home. So it's going to be kind of interesting, needless to say, kind of how everything works out over the next few months. I think it's going to ultimately take 6 to 12 months to really be able to tell the ultimate effect of kind of what's going on lately. But overall, the market's just rallying on hopes that, people are starting to get back out. Consumer confidence is going to go back up. We heard that house buying activity we are now, as of this last week, home buying has completely reversed. Essentially, we went from not a lot of home buying activity going on to now we are back to where we were before the coronavirus. It was what I heard on Thursday afternoon. So just another good kind of, when you're talking about consumer confidence and whatnot, stuff that ultimately drives the market. At the end of the day, there's just there's little things here and there essentially that is causing the market just to continue to rally. Obviously, you still have 40 million people unemployed, but at the end of the day, the market's not looking at that stuff. So it's interesting how it's all shaking out for sure. I'm not going to say it's right or it's wrong what the market's doing. I will say investor sentiment overall is very mixed. All of the chat boards and everything that I just check on from time to time, just BS ones like investing.com and whatnot, just all different types of boards that are easily accessible to the public. It's so split. Either people are super bullish or people are super bearish. So, it's honestly 50-50 from what I see. Me personally, for long term, I am always bullish. If you're not bullish long term, then I don't know what you've been looking at. Just pull up your time frame to as far back as you go, max available, and we'll do 1 month. Just take a look at and that's MES, so it's not going to take you too far. Let's do ES. Just go and look back at that long-term chart, and why the hell would you not be bullish long-term, obviously. Now, of course, most of us here aren't necessarily looking at that super long-term. We are liking to play more so a couple days, couple hours even. I know a lot of you guys do the scalping and whatnot. Now, what I will say whenever I'm looking at the monthly chart is I really liked how, obviously, we did break some pretty critical supports recently, but we did also back in 2018 into 2019. And the good thing is at the end of the day, the line in the sand, so to speak, right around 25.50, 25.30, whatever the real technical number is, it held up pretty well. We were briefly below it, but then we bounced right back up. Some would maybe even call that a double bottom in terms of your monthly chart. So from that standpoint, bullish. Again, these are very long-term charts, 1 month charts. But even our 180-day 4-hour chart, we're going to hit some resistance at 3,000, of course. It was a critical number whenever we were first rallying last year. And then we just kind of kept rallying on through it from there. But I think if we can break through 3,000 from a technical standpoint, throw all the BS out the window essentially, because the market obviously doesn't give a shit about it. Throw all that BS coronavirus stuff out the window and go based on pure technical analysis essentially. If we can break through 3,000, then honestly, I had a number pinpointed, but I lost it. If we can break through 3,000, then I think the next stop, in all honesty, is probably going to be somewhere around 3075 to 3100. Now, how quick are we going to get there? Who knows? That will obviously depend on what news stories come out, what geopolitical BS gets stirred up. Obviously, no one can predict when or how we're going to get there, but just kind of my 2 cents on the market right now. I know when we were looking at the 1 hour chart last night, I believe, Sunday night last night, get the days all mixed up. We were looking at the chart last night. I know a couple of you guys were slightly bearish in terms of your shorter term scalp plays, because we had a lot of resistance right around 29.70. We were kind of bouncing around there for a minute, but then we ultimately just broke out to the upside. So again, don't ever think that this market is dead. Now, we have been trading pretty sideways, obviously, from, I would say, somewhere around man, it's actually been longer than the last month now. Over a month, pretty much, we've been trading sideways. And for pretty much the last trading week or two, even right around a week and a half, we've been trading in a super tight range, but to the upside, which is a good thing, of course. You don't want to be trading sideways to the downside because chances are you're going to break down even further. But why I've been super bullish is because we've been trading in a pretty tight range on the upper side of our recent range, which usually more times than not indicates you're going to bust out to the upside at some point, and that's what we've seen from overnight last night and so far into tonight, which is why I think we're at least going to hit 3,000. I don't see why not at this point. We're only 7 to 10 points away, so I think that's pretty much a given at this point. Again, unless if we have some crazy reversal. The only thing that makes me slightly bearish in the short term is we have been bumping up against that 1 hour chart the high end of the RSI on the 1 hour chart, which doesn't play out too well in the long run. But when we are kind of worried about that, we just go back and look at that 4 hour chart. And the 4 hour chart, while it's showing again that we're not like cooled off or anything by any means, it shows that we could potentially run up a little bit more, which is why I'm being a little bit conservative and saying we're probably going to hit 3,000. Honestly, my true expectation is probably going to hit 3,000 somewhere around there overnight tonight before open tomorrow. And then we probably sell throughout the day. Probably have only like a 0.5% to 1% up day for the U.S. markets tomorrow. Gives us a little bit of cool-off time. We probably retest pull up the 1 hour chart again. We probably come back down and retest as a support somewhere around 29.60. That'd be about 30 points to the downside. So again, you're looking at a relatively small day. And this is if it plays out like that. And that's just kind of me throwing a dart in the dark, essentially, kind of what I'm thinking. Because that's just going to allow us, one, we're going to make, again, a new recent high. We're going to hit a critical level at 3,000. Our 1 hour chart's going to be ridiculously more than likely overbought at that point. And we might not even stop at 31. We might go up to like 31.05, 31.10. But you guys know what I mean. The whole point, though, is that a lot of our charts are going to be looking slightly overextended. And then you're going to see some profit taking happen at 3,000. And then that's probably going to cause us to pull down, like I said, probably retest somewhere around 29.60 or something. And then you're going to have a bunch of guys like me coming in and buying up a whole lot of it on a dip. And then we're going to just keep riding higher because there's really no reason at this point for the market to keep going down. I said it way back like 1-2 months ago when we started rallying up. A lot of people were questioning why in the hell are we rallying. Then they thought, oh, there's a double top there. And then we kept rallying. And I said it, I don't even know how many times over the last month or so, that when we had this low around 2,200, market was pricing in worst case scenario. Market was pricing in pretty much a total U.S. world lockdown for a long period of time. That's why we had 7, 10, 12%. I mean, we had 1 year moves in one day. I don't think a lot of people realize that. The market tends to go up or down like 8 to 12% in a given year, and we were having those moves on a day-to-day basis as the market just crumbled because it was pricing a worst case scenario. So I think the bear thesis of that we're going to retest the low is pretty much all but dead. I think worst case scenario is that we have like some second wave come through. You're not going to see countries and states overreact like we did this first time. And I think even worst case scenario, you probably see us come back down to like 2,600. But that's like months from now, if or when a second wave, if a second wave of the coronavirus comes through. I don't know about you guys. I don't believe a damn thing that I'm seeing like on social media, on news networks. I pretty much don't hardly watch news anymore outside of like business news just because it's all bullshit. I mean, we keep hearing CDC says this. CDC says wear no mask. CDC now says to wear a mask. CDC says you shouldn't wear gloves. Well, now you should wear gloves if you go into the gym. Like, it's all a bunch of bullshit. They're just making the shit up as they go, is what it seems. So it's like, I'm just going to do me. I go by. I'm a numbers guy. That's what a lot of us are. That's why we train the stock market and whatnot. But like when I look at it and see that you have pretty much a 99, like 0.7 or something. I know it's like right around 99%. We'll just call it 99. you have pretty much a 99. So out of every 100 people that get the coronavirus, pretty much it's guaranteed that 99 are going to survive. I've had surgeries literally just to get my damn. I have a fake implant tooth. That surgery has a 7% chance of death. I had a better chance. I had a 7 times better chance of dying on that surgery table for that than I did from if someone, like, if I were to get coronavirus. So, I don't know. Me, I'm a numbers guy. I don't buy into all of the bullshit. Like, that's just me. I mean, some of you guys, hopefully no one gets, like, offended by that or anything. I know people have just been, I call it the corona crazy. It's like people are just blowing this shit out of proportion, and it's just getting old. Check our stream real quick. We're still green. We're all good to go. I see there's a couple of you in here. If you have any stocks or anything you want me to take a look at, or just want any input on anything, if I'm like missing something, if you just got a random question, definitely shout it out there in the chat. I don't know if I'm pointing the right way. That way, we're the chat over here. Just shout it out, and I'll definitely answer it for you guys. I should put that on a t-shirt. Corona Crazies. That'd be a good idea. Maybe I need to get on merch by Amazon and do that. But, yeah, I mean, as for me, I don't know why it's not showing my positions right now. There we go. So we still, over the weekend, we held our QQQ, QQQ, short vertical spread, put vertical spread. So pretty much we're assuming that QQQ was going to keep moving up. That position is pretty much a break even. It's up like $2.50, which again, that trade cost somewhere around $2 to $3 with fees and commissions. So we didn't sell it just because I was like, I think the market's going to keep going up. From an SPY standpoint, I thought it was going to hit 300. So I fully expect QQQ to keep going higher as well, which that trade looks like it's probably going to pay off tomorrow, assuming we open up where we are right now. If we just take a look at it, it is at 233 at the high, which is pretty much what it's trading for right now. So that'd be almost a $4 jump to the upside. That is going to be a nice trade. Man, I hope we can open that high tomorrow. That'd be a fucking awesome. That'd probably be just a ballpark of 20% probably is what that position would probably be up. On the low end, probably 15. So we're looking at probably 15 to 25% if we open up at that tomorrow. So that would be awesome. To put that in perspective, that trade was like a 300, and it was either 330 or 340. We'll just split the difference and say 335. Yeah, 335. And if it's a 20% winner, that would be a $67 profit. That doesn't seem right. Is that actually how much that trade cost? Let me see. I'm trying to see. Let me go to my statement. So we have. Where is it? QQQ. Okay, 86 credit. I want to see the actual cost of the trade. Let me see if there's a way that I can see it. Okay, that's not helping me at all, guys. Let me see, let's go back. I want to know, I'm pretty sure it was like a 335. So pretty much either way, you know that the max profit potential is $86 because I got an 86-cent credit, which means that $86 is the max potential for profit on that trade. And you guys know that I generally cover somewhere around 50% or less. So if we just go based off of that, that would be a $43 profit. That sounds closer, right? So I might be, and who knows, I might be wrong. It might be $60, $70 profit, but not a lot of times do I really get like 2/3 to 3/4 of the trade, but we'll see. I might be wrong. I may be like $60, $70 profit. We'll just see what happens tomorrow. Depends on where we open up, but $4 to the upside, that is a pretty solid move, which either way, we're probably looking at $40 to $60 somewhere in that ballpark, which is still a good trade overall. Again, if we're right, it's 335 times 0.15, that would be 50. So yeah, that would make a little bit more sense. So yeah, like I said, probably 15%. Either way, a really good trade. I would be very happy with that trade if it could make me 15% on my money. And then when we go back and look at our other position, we just have a small position in SPXL. Nothing crazy. We were just wanting to leave this kind of as a runner. We covered TQQQ for, what was it again? We only had like 8 shares total, apparently. We sold that at 79.54. Hindsight's 2020. We should have held. That would have been another 3 to 4% tomorrow. But wanted to take a little bit of profit off the table, hence why we left SPXL as our quote-unquote market runners. We had some at 76.90, and then we had some more at 78.34. So we averaged down again. That's why, like I say, guys, you want to keep your position small when you're first getting in, because you'll almost always have a chance to get in at a better price. As you can see, I mean, we got it for almost $2 cheaper per share in less than a day's amount of time. And then we turned around, flipped it by the end of the day for over pretty much like $3 a share profit on that side. If I remember right, this was not a big winner. I think it was only like 2% profit or something like that. But again, that's what it's all about. Just if you can cover 1% here, 3% there, have an occasional big boy there that wins you 10, 20% slam dunk trade, so to speak, here and there. It all adds up. That's why the account is up an average of 3 to 4% a week right now. We're just picking and choosing. We're being super quick to cover profits, and we position our portfolio where, we know that, hey, we're up this amount so far. Let's go ahead and take a little bit off the table while we go ahead and leave a little bit as a runner. This is a pretty small position. It was up only $3 going into the close, and we're in at 36.96. So that's about a 300 and I don't know, what is that, 370. So we were in at is that right? About a $370 position, something like that. Yeah, somewhere on there. So yeah, just let that as a runner, because like I said, if that can make another so it moves 3 times whatever the S&P 500 moves, and the S&P 500 at the moment is up 1 1/3, so that would be about a 4% profit additional to what we were already up on that position. So 4% on, if we were right and it was a $370 position roughly, that'd be another $15 just tomorrow alone from that position. So again, it's just all about just slowly adding a little bit of money here and there. Hey, how's it going? By the way, how's it going? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. If I can just get a few percentage points here, a few percentage points there, it all starts to add up, and then over time, you will start to just see the profit slowly go up. Like I said, I mean, we've only been on TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim again for about 8 or 9 weeks now, somewhere around there. And in that time, we've made like $525. So when you look at it from that standpoint, it's nothing major. I mean, 525 divided by, we'll just say 9 weeks. That's about $58 of profit. But again, if you take that by your initial investment, which we've only put $1,500 in there so far. Like I said, we will put more in the future, but as of now, only $1,500. Again, that's roughly somewhere around 4%, 3.88% per week. Just type that in a compound interest calculator over a 52-week period. And again, this doesn't even factor in any compounding interest. This is simply just if you did 3.8888% every single week times 52 weeks, no compounding or anything there. That'd be over a 202% return. No compounding interest in there whatsoever. So, am I expecting that? Honestly, no. Like I said, I mean, I keep saying this over and over, yet I continue to keep doing like 3 to 4% a week or more in a lot of cases. But like I said, if I can just average 0.5% to 1% over a 52-week period, I will be very happy with my portfolio's progress over a given year, decade, etc. So, and besides, I don't necessarily plan on doing this type of trading style that I do currently like forever. I've always been big on vertical spread options, especially within QQQ and SPY specifically. I will keep doing those here and there. But as for leverage ETFs, I probably won't use them as much as my account continues to grow, because you guys know that my end game is I want to be able to play the E-mini, not the micro E-mini, though I will play those once I have enough money to buy a few contracts. But my end game is I want to be able to play this ES. And as you can see right now, it is retarded expensive to play it. By the way, for those of you that are not in our Discord group chat, I posted that I had actually reached out to TD Ameritrade, because you can actually, if you guys didn't know, it's super easy to contact them. They have like a 24/7 trade support deal or whatever, where there's someone in a chat essentially. And I asked them, like, when is the margin requirements going to go back down for trading these futures? Because, I mean, they're ridiculously priced right now, which obviously a month or two ago it made sense when we had drops of 5, 10, 12% a day. But now that we're kind of back in a normal market, so to speak, I mean, we still have 1 to 3% days here and there. But I think the biggest move that we've had recently was somewhere back in here when we had I think it was like a down 3% day, and that's in like the last month or so. So I mean, the market has relatively, definitely stabilized itself. I mean, look at how much little movement we've had compared to that massive 1,300 point drop recently. I mean, man, how long ago was that now? 323. So that was over 2 months ago now. So, I mean, sure, hopefully they'll get on that maybe at the beginning of June. Hopefully. I think it's just they're kind of like the rest of us, where we're just wondering what's going to happen next, what's going to develop next with the coronavirus. They're looking out for themselves at the end of the day. They're a bank. They don't want to have to make margin calls or anything like that. I mean, people have gotten absolutely... I mean, there have been hedge funds that have gone completely bankrupt, out of business, because they just... I mean, they blew up, essentially. I mean, you had margin calls for days when shit hit the fan. So, I mean, I know my portfolio, when we were trading on Tastyworks, it even took a massive hit. And that was like right when I first started trading more actively again too. Like, it seems like every time I start to trade actively, like a little bit more active than sometimes, because occasionally take breaks and whatnot. But it seems like every time I get back to it is when volatility starts to go through the roof. So, but either way, so far been so good over the last few months. So hopefully we can just keep that going. So we're continuing to go up, it looks like, so far. Just made a new recent high again. Like I said, I don't think there's any excuse for this thing to not hit 3,000 overnight. Honestly, I almost want to watch it happen, because I think once it hits 3,000, 3,10, you're going to see a lot of profit taking. More than likely, and then we'll probably go revisit that 2960 area. And at that point, I will load up on quite a bit of like SPXL, TQQQQ, of course, and just ride it back up. Because like I was saying a little bit ago, I don't really see anything. Go take a look at the NASDAQ side. I don't really see anything that's making me think that, we should be rolling over here. We keep slowly but surely squeezing out new recent highs. As you can see, we were trading in a even on the NASDAQ side of things, we were trading in a pretty decent range. This is just the 10-day chart here. Even on the 10-day chart, we were trading in a pretty tight range, but it was to the upside. Bears had a little chance whenever it broke that 9,300 support, but I don't know what the hell happened, honestly, but they failed miserably. We bounced right at like 92.50 approximately, and then we've just kept going up again ever since. But like I said, I am expecting some profit taking. If not tomorrow, then probably Wednesday. So assuming that we're up this much tomorrow, I will probably close all my positions. I'll be in all cash probably after tomorrow. I might even take a slight short position, maybe not in like SQQQQ or anything like that, because those just don't work out too well for me personally. But I might do a short vertical call spread either on QQQ. I probably won't do it on QQQ. In all honesty, I'll probably do it on SPY because I'm much more bullish on the NASDAQ than I am the Dow or the S&P 500. So I'll probably look at placing, assuming this thing blows through 300 tomorrow, like 300 to 301, I'll probably do a vertical call spread somewhere around like 305, 310, somewhere around those strike prices. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated. Those of you in our Discord group chat, you know pretty much within a couple minutes at the most of when I place a trade. So again, if you're not in there, link for that is down in the description below. What I suggest doing is downloading it on your smartphone first, and then go back to like one of the link is posted in all my YouTube videos, so you can just go back to a video and the link will be right there, and then it'll take you right to our group. Super easy, no problem. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking at for the next couple days. As for the next week, who knows? In all honesty, I think personally more room to the upside. Get the actual futures pulled up here. I think more room to the upside. Honestly, if you want me to just take a jab at where do I think we're going to go over the next week, like I said, if we can blow through 3,000 overnight tonight, have a healthy pullback to like 29.60 roughly, a solid little 40-point pullback or something, and then we bounce from there. I mean, even if we pull back to like 29.25 or something, just a good little healthy pullback sometime this week, some profit taking, then I think we could definitely go up to 3,100 this week. I don't see why not. Like I said, I'm done buying into the Corona bullshit, and I think the market has been for some time now. We've been trading in a pretty tight range, but overall, what do we keep doing? We keep making new highs, or new recent highs, not new all-time high, but new recent high. How's it going there? Uber Gaming? Nice name, by the way. How do you find stocks to day trade? So personally, I mean, I'm not going to say that I don't play like single stocks because I'd be lying. I mean, I just traded Apple about a week or two ago, but me personally, I don't play individual stocks as much as I do what's called leveraged ETFs, and I have videos about like what leveraged ETFs are just to keep it short and sweet to the point. Leverage ETFs just tend to move 3 times whatever a certain market moves. So say you're talking about the S&P 500, it is up 1.36%. The leverage ETF of that is SPXL. It moves 3 times whatever the S&P 500 moves. So say that the S&P 500 opens up 1.5% tomorrow, this would be up roughly like 4.5%, if I did my math right, somewhere around 4.5% of profit. So these are mostly what I tend to trade. I tend to trade SPXL along with UDOW. I don't trade UDOW as much in all honesty, but the one that I trade the most is TQQQQ, and it moves 3 times what the NASDAQ does. That's me personally. Now, how do you to actually answer your question? How do you find stocks to day trade? So all that I do essentially is I think of stocks I may not necessarily know quite a lot about the true company, but companies that I can just literally list off the top of my head, like say Apple, for example. I would look up, if you're brand new to trading and whatnot, just look up on Google, say what is Apple's ticker symbol, and then it will pop up on Google AAPL, which is Apple's ticker symbol. And then I got a couple of indicators here, which I have again a bunch of videos on this channel about like how I set up my charts. This is the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform. I'm assuming like you're fairly new. If I'm like dumbing it down too much or anything, just let me know. I don't know how new you are or whatnot. But I'm trying to like go from like start to finish, essentially from like finding the stock to how I analyze it and all of that. So, like I said, I don't know how new you are. It's cutting your chat off a little bit. Let me adjust my screen here. Let's see here. Do you live stream during market hours? So only whenever I'm off. So I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I have a full-time job. I mean, you can't day trade off of like this small of an account, and I don't want, like, I'm gonna be blunt with you. Oh, my Siri got activated. Put that over there. Like, I'm going to be blunt with you, like I am with everybody else. Like, do not go in this thinking that you're going to be able to day trade, like, for a living or anything. Trading with, like, 500, 1,000, even 10,000, 20,000. Honestly, my suggestion for, like, if you want to do this for a living is obviously, one, learn the ins and outs, all that stuff. Get the experience through paper trading, which TD Ameritrade offers. A free paper trading. It's literally the same platform. It's just you're trading with fake money, essentially. So you get to try out your trading methods and first before you actually put up your own cash, which I highly suggest everyone do, at least for a minimum of 2 to 4 weeks, especially like you're saying you're brand new. So I would suggest more like 4 weeks. But yeah, I definitely don't want, I just am super blunt with people. Like, in all honesty, I mean, like me, which again, we just switched to TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim recently. We were using another broker called Tastyworks for the longest. We switched about 9 weeks ago to TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim. We only put $1,500 in the account. So far, we're up like $525. And again, that's in like 9 weeks, which is actually very good. Like, you may not think it's too good, but I mean, it is very good. It's about 4% a week. And honestly, my target is only 1%, 0.5% to 1% a week. So when you're going into this game, like I like to call it, you need to do not think in terms of dollar signs. We need to convert your thinking from dollars to percentages, because when you're thinking in terms of dollars, you will get caught chasing so many trades because you're going to think, I want to make $10 on this trade. I want to make $100 off this trade, which is the absolutely wrong mindset to go in. You need to go in with, I want to make 5% on this trade. I want to make 3%, because when you just collect 5% here, 2% there, 0.5% here, 10% there, it starts to compound and compound and compound like a giant snowball. And over time, say you start with $1,000 account, and your portfolio does say 3% in 1 week, we only made $30. But guess what? It's going to keep compounding. That 30 is going to turn into like 33 the next week. And then you add more money to your account, and then it continues to just grow. And then eventually someday, say you got a $10,000 account, and then you do 3%. Well, now your 3% is $300. So, again, you just got to keep it in terms of percentages, no matter what amount of money you're starting with, even if you're starting with like 50 to 100 grand, which is retarded, by the way. If you got that much money, don't do that. Like, especially if you're brand new starting out. In the long term, go ahead and add a little bit in every few months. But when you're first starting out, I highly suggest starting with like $1,000 or less. Honestly, probably like 500. But that's like me just being super upfront, because like, I just do not. People get so caught up in wanting to like get rich quick, and I'm not that YouTuber. I'm not the one that's gonna like blow smoke up people's ass saying that like you're gonna get rich quick overnight. But to that point, I don't get to like stream too often during market hours. However, I do stream a lot of times during futures trading market hours, which if you're pretty new, you might be wondering what futures are. So that's your S&P 500. This trades pretty much 24 hours, 5 days a week, essentially. It takes off from 5 p.m. Eastern time until 6 p.m. Eastern time, 1 hour a day. But other than that, it's pretty much open 24 hours, 5 days a week, or almost 6 days a week, but pretty much 24 hours, 5 days a week. That's why you can see the numbers changing pretty much by the second. I do go live 3 days a week. We usually go live on Sunday. This is usually a Sunday show, but since we have Memorial Day weekend, I did it today instead. And then we usually do another 2 streams a week. Just as like kind of market updates, I give everybody updates on my portfolio, profits, losses, all that stuff. And then I try to do like an informative video where I do more of teaching, just kind of like from my own experiences. I've been trading now for about 2 to 2.5, not quite 2.5, but a little over 2 years now. And it was very off and on in the beginning, but now over the last, I don't know how many months to a T, I want to say roughly 7 months or so, 7 to 8 months, I've been trading a lot more consistently. But back to like your thing about like finding stocks and whatnot to invest in. First, you need to know the ticker symbol of the companies you're investing in. And then once you get like a TD Ameritrade set up, which like I said, I don't know if you're like new to the channel. If so, we'd love to have you here for the future streams. Hit that subscribe button, of course, and make sure to hit the bell icon, because I know a lot of people don't get notified when we go live if they don't hit the bell icon. So hit that. That way you'll be notified. But man, I've got like over 300 videos now, and a lot of, like I have 2 or 3 that just show like how to set up your TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform, like how to get all these indicators, how to read them, how to use them, that kind of thing. I just did one recently about how to use these Bollinger Bands, what they are, and how to use them when trading, specifically day trading. So that might be another video you want to look at some point. But which, by the way, to use the TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim platform is totally free. You don't have to you don't even have to fund your account. I also have a video about that, about how to get it and how to get live quotes, live trading, all that for free. Like I said, I mean, I got a lot of videos. I could go on and on forever, but so you'll want to get your whole setup, whatever broker you decide to use and whatnot. Get your setup going. Figure out what the tickers of the companies are that you want to look at day trading. You could also use a scanner. I don't suggest using a scanner, but you can literally scan for stocks that are either down, up, etc. Me personally, I only like to trade stuff that I know, just based off of experience. I've traded anything and everything. I mean, I've traded penny stocks, garbage. Don't fucking do it. It's a waste of time and money. We've traded those. We've traded options, futures, leverage ETFs, precious metals. I mean, we've traded like anything and everything that you can trade on the stock market. And by far, if you're talking about stocks, I say to go with companies you know. Say you're going to be starting out with a smaller account, Apple's probably not even one you want to take a look at. Let's go with like Square, for example, because that's a smaller stock in terms of price. It's around $80 a share, which is nuts because it was just $60 about a month ago. But when I look at this stock right now, like I'll just show you kind of like how I would break down a stock just from a technical standpoint. I always start with the 20-day, 1-hour chart. It's pretty much a 1-month chart because you have roughly 20 to 22 trading sessions in a month. And then 1 hour is just a time frame. That tends to work pretty well when it comes to your indicators. Now, when I look at this stock right now, like a lot of the market, it's been trading pretty sideways recently. And, I mean, look at your Bollinger Bands. They are so tight. You got 80.50 to the downside and about 82.50 to the upside. So a tight, very tight $2 range. So I expect, one, for this to either break to the upside or break to the downside before long. I tend to be more long the market in general, especially when it comes to good stocks. I like Square. I think Square is a really good company. So I would bet more to the upside on this. However, I want to take a look at everything else. Our RSI is I mean, it could go either way. 52 isn't too high. I mean, it's right in the middle, essentially. High is anything over 70. Low, of course, is anything below 30. And this thing is literally like smack dab in the middle. When we zoom in here a little bit more, MACD, very undecided. This is a bad stock to try to do technical analysis on because it could really go either way. Maybe if we look at shorter time frames. 15 minutes. So, no, it's not helping at all. This stock could really go either way. Let me try to look at a different one. Let's just go with Apple still, even though it's kind of overpriced. So Apple, while it is a little bit more, it's at 62 on our RSI on a 15-minute chart. Again, we want to go back to the 1 hour. The 1 hour is what I tend to use the most. So 1 hour and then 4 hour and then followed by our smaller time frames. This is more for a swing trading style. So again, Apple been trading pretty sideways as well. There is a very solid resistance right around 320. And what we mean by that is every time this thing has gotten up around these levels, it has come down. You can see it hopped up to about 320 and then it dropped clear down to $300. And then we came back up recently to right at that 320 level. Then we came back down to 313 again. And now here we are marching right back up to it again. Now the good thing is that our upper Bollinger Band here on the 1 hour chart is starting to go up, which usually means that you can potentially, doesn't mean it's going to happen, but potentially you could see a little bit more room to the upside. So when I look at everything here, I don't like that our MACD is kind of showing signs of potential weakness and buying. However, everything else, it's indifferent. So I'm just going to go based off of history, which tells me that Apple is probably going to break through 320. So I want to get in a little bit lower. I do see overall, honestly, this thing's probably going to go well above 320 tomorrow. How the Nasdaq's looking right now, up 1.5%. So Apple's probably going to be up at least 1% or so tomorrow. So that would put it well over 320. But I wouldn't want to get in this thing tomorrow. I would want to see it pull back. I want to see us. It'll probably go to 325 tomorrow, in all honesty, 322, 325. So what I would want to see is a pullback to around this range, around 318 to 320. And then at that point, I would try to hop in and write it up. Say you wrote it up to, let's look at the 4 hour chart. Yeah, say you can get out at 330. Say it makes a new all-time high because it's Apple, and Apple's the fucking shit. That's what it does. It makes new all-time highs pretty much every damn year. Say you got out of it at 330. Say you got in at 318. That's a $12 profit. Divided by your entry of 318, that is a 3.77% profit. So that would not be a bad trade, and you're probably looking at that in no more than a day if you can time it right, but probably no more than a week at the most. So that would not be a bad trade setup there. And that's pretty much how I do it. Now, would I make that trade? It just depends. It depends how it would play out. I mean, does 318, 320 hold? Does it break? I don't want to just see the stock come down to my target buy. I want to see it hold above that price. I want to see that, yes, this is a solid support. Old resistances tend to become new support levels. So I want to see, is that going to hold up now as a support? If not, then the stock is showing weakness. It's probably going to keep going down. At that point, I will reevaluate and maybe look at a new potential entry point. I am very, 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 very picky about when I get into especially individual stocks, but whenever I'm getting into anything for a trade, I am very picky. If it does not go exactly as I'm planning, as for my entry point, I don't play it. I mean, I've missed out on probably hundreds of good, solid trading opportunities, and I'm usually cussing myself in our Discord group chat about it, that, I should have got in. That would have been another 1 to 4% profit, blah, 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 blah. But I would rather miss out on potential for profit, FOMO, essentially, fear of missing out. I would rather miss out on potential than hop in with a coin flip and then end up losing money on a trade. So like me, I've developed just more of a patience, I guess, where it allows me to be very picky with where I get in, when I get in. I mean, it doesn't limit how many trades necessarily I'm doing. I mean, you can see that just over the last, I mean, this is like 2 trading sessions. And I mean, I had a lot of trades. So, and they're not all day trades. Most of my trades are overnight, couple days. They're usually more of what we call swing trades. Anything you hold overnight is technically considered a swing trade. So most of my trades tend to classify as swing trades. So you can see here, this shows 21 orders over, I don't know what the time frame is on this, but I mean 21 orders in probably less than a week. I wish it would tell me what the time is on it, but yeah, I mean that's just kind of what goes into my thought process when it comes to buying a stock. Again, I tend to trade. I love this bad boy here, TQQQ. Q, and if you don't believe me how awesome it is, just look at that. A low of $31 all the way up over $80 at the recent high. It's gone up almost 3x over the last 2 months. Now, I don't ever personally hold these that long. I tend to hold these, again, a couple days usually at the most. But again, I break it down the same way. So let's take a look. Man, I'm kicking myself for selling that shit on Friday. If it opens up where it is right now, that would have been another $24, $25 of profit. Oh well. So when I look at it though, again, when we look at that 1 hour chart, little overbought. Again, me personally, I'm expecting quite a bit of profit taking either tomorrow or Wednesday for the stock market as a whole. Especially if the S&P 500 hits 3,000 tomorrow, I expect a lot of people to hit that button and go ahead and start selling a little bit. But the 1 hour chart looks a little bit overbought right now, which is, again, why I got out on Friday. I just didn't want to hold for that long weekend on top of that. 4 hour chart shows we got a little bit more room to the upside potentially, which is why I wouldn't be surprised to see us maybe even test $83 on this. And then when I look at my shorter time frame, the 5-day, 5-minute, it's kind of whack right now because it just opened up. So I'll probably look at more like the 15-minute, which is pretty whacked out itself. So, yeah, that's why I made the decision that I made, which was to go ahead and cover my profits on that position on Friday, was because I expected, like, I saw that we had quite a bit of buying going on Friday, right? Yeah, on Friday afternoon. So I was like, you know what? It's looking, I wouldn't say bearish, but I was like, we didn't get back to our recent high, which was slightly bearish. Now we've just completely smashed through it. So I'm back to kind of bullish on it. But in the short term, I want to see it now, again, like everything else, pull back. I want to see it pull back to about $80, $79 to $80. If it does that, I will be a buyer, which is why tomorrow I will probably close the rest of my bullish positions, and I will go over to my beautiful friend SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. And if this thing goes through 300, I will place what's called a vertical call spread. It's an option that you can do, and it's pretty much saying as long as this stock stays below this price, I'm gonna make money if I held it till expiration and it stayed below that price until expiration. Now, I like to only hold these for a couple days at the most usually, so I'm making more of a speculation is what they call it in the trading world, where I'm saying, I think we're a little overstretched here. I'm assuming the market's going to fall back down a little bit, which is what I'm going to do. I'll set my price around 305 to 310, and then and that gives me a little bit of wiggle room in case if the market does go up a little bit more, I'll have some wiggle room there, because the whole point is you want it to stay below that price for sure. That way you stay in the green, so to speak. If for some reason you have to hold it till expiration, which you never should have to, by the way. But then assuming that it goes back down, that's where I make my money. So, and it's usually in the realms of 10 to 20% profit on those trades. So good talk overall. Hopefully that did help you out a little. Hopefully I didn't just give you like some overload of information. I feel like I might have. But like I said, I think you're new to the channel, so hopefully you'll go through. I need to update the playlist, actually. I've been slacking on that. I need to go through and all of the recent videos that I've done over the last couple months, I need to put them in the playlist. But I have like a stock market lessons playlist with at least like a couple like 10s or 20s of videos in there. Like I said, I got more as well that I need to add to tonight. But man, we've got so many videos on that kind of stuff. So, and like I said, we do these streams a couple times a week, usually 2 to 3 times a week. And if you want like updates on those, like I said, hit our link down in the description. It'll take you to our Discord group chat. It's totally free to join. I don't charge for anything associated with this channel. And that goes to anyone that's watching. I don't know how many of you all we have watching or anything. If we got any new viewers or anything. Like I said, we'd love to have you all here for future streams. So hit that subscribe button below. Hit the bell icon. Join our Discord group chat with almost 200 members in it. We would love to have you in there. And we got a lot of guys that are willing to teach people in there. And again, that's totally free to join. But other than that, that pretty much wraps up the stream. Hopefully you guys had a great Memorial Day weekend. Don't forget why we had that extra day off this weekend. Thank either a family member, if you have a family member, anyone that served, be sure to thank somebody this week for that. They are sacrificing so much for sure. We cannot thank them enough. But just take some time to reflect on that, and hopefully you guys have a good trading week this week. I'll be praying that you all make lots of profits this week, and hopefully you guys stay green this week. But until next time, guys, keep on going out there, making your profits, covering your profits, achieving your financial freedom this year, and I'll see you guys in the next stream here in just a couple days. But until then, take it easy, guys.